All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're looking at something absolutely crucial today. Discipline is everything. We're going to break down a deeply powerful concept here and face some incredibly stark, hard-hitting truths about what it actually takes to achieve greatness. Because here's the thing, the bridge between where you are right now and where you desperately want to be, it's not made of motivation. No way. It's made entirely of discipline. So let's look at exactly why that is.
So the sheer brutal reality of this whole thing starts with the math. 1%. The source material points out this fascinating but honestly kind of humbling fact: less than 1% of people on this entire planet are naturally extraordinarily gifted at something. Think about the true geniuses, the savants, the people who just effortlessly excel without even breaking a sweat. Well, they make up less than a single percent of the entire human population.
So what does that mean for the rest of us? Well, it means the 99+% of us have to take a completely different path. If we, the vast majority, are going to do anything great or accomplish anything extraordinary with our days on this planet, it's going to require discipline. It means actively pushing through discomfort. It means fully, 100% embracing the grind. You can't rely on being a natural genius, right? So you've got to rely on your own relentless drive.
Now, to really understand discipline, we first have to redefine its exact opposite, which is laziness. We usually think of laziness as just, a lack of energy, right? Just being tired. But no, the source brilliantly reframes this. It's actually a craving for comfort. It is the worship of comfort. It's that little internal voice saying, I just don't want to do anything that I don't feel like doing. Laziness isn't a physical state at all. It's this incredibly dangerous prioritization of feeling good right now over being great later.
And you see, that worship of comfort leads directly to a really dangerous lie. A lie we tell ourselves all the time just to avoid doing hard things. We start believing that if a task doesn't come completely naturally to us, or if it isn't immediately easy, then somehow it just isn't for us. We literally use this lie as an out. Sure, you can tell yourself everything is okay, you can lie to yourself and say that you're winning without putting in the effort, but by doing that, you completely eliminate the need for discipline, sure, but you also completely eliminate your chance at success.
Let's actually walk through how this builds into reality. Because it's a terrifying snowball effect when you look at our daily actions. You wake up, you make a bad choice, maybe hitting snooze or skipping that morning workout. Then you make another bad choice, and before you even realize it, you've developed a full-blown habit of bad choices. Suddenly, you look around at your life and ask, wait, how did I get here? It wasn't one giant disaster, It was just the slow, really comfortable accumulation of tiny, bad choices.
It ultimately comes down to this really powerful realization. You're trying to get to certain places, but you ain't making the choices that's going to get you there. There's a massive disconnect going on here. You have these massive goals, but your everyday actions are entirely driven by your feelings. You're living all in your feelings, instead of living in your commitments. If you want to live your absolute best life, you absolutely have to watch the choices you make every single day.
So, we're constantly faced with a choice between two mentalities. You can lie to yourself, giving yourself this false comfort and telling yourself you're winning without any real discipline. Or you can tell yourself the hard truth, that you could be better. You know for a fact you could do more. And here is the secret the source reveals. If you finally tell yourself that brutal truth, you won't even have to try to find discipline. Discipline will naturally find you.
Because the ultimate goal is actually really simple. The greatest version of you is the disciplined version of you. We so often idolize this chaotic, I can do whatever I want, free spirit persona, right? But the source completely shatters that myth. The best, most capable, most extraordinary version of yourself isn't the one doing whatever they feel like in the moment. It's the highly structured, disciplined self.
So what does that structured self actually look like? Well, discipline is all about creating parameters and boundaries. It's the ability to look dead at distractions and say, no, I don't do that, I don't drink that, I don't go there with these people. And why? Because you have a prize in front of you. You know exactly what you're supposed to do, and you stay incredibly focused on it, just completely ignoring the whole shebang of anything that doesn't serve that ultimate goal.
To maintain those parameters, you have to realize a fundamental truth. Your mind is a weapon. But most people are completely out of control with their own minds. They don't point it at anything specific. They just let the world point it for them. And because of that, they misfire all the time. The source challenges us here to consciously pick up that weapon, gain some self-control, and actively aim our mental focus directly at the things we actually want.
This idea of mental focus goes even deeper. The explainer points out that literally, the things that we obsess about become the things that we possess in our lives. This highlights the sheer undeniable power of repetitious, controlled thought. What are you thinking about on a regular basis? Seriously, what are you letting occupy your mental space? Because your obsessions dictate your reality. If you obsess over comfort, you'll possess mediocrity. But if you obsess over your goals, you're gonna possess success. Think about traits like discipline, persistence, patience, and grit. The source is incredibly clear about one thing here. You are not born with these. These are crucial character traits that you must actively develop. And how do you build them? Well, you build them solely by consistently doing the things that you do not feel like doing, simply because you know it's the right thing to do. That is literally the only way these traits are forged. This brings us to a real climax of radical accountability. Look, it's just human nature to want to blame circumstances for the way things are, right? We blame our genetics, our background, the world for our problems. But the tough truth is, the real problem isn't the world. The real problem is the pattern of your response to the world. The product of your life is entirely dependent on the patterns you establish. You cannot change the way your career is going if you don't change your work habits. You can't change your wisdom unless you change your daily input. It's that simple. If you want a totally different life output, you have to radically change the pattern of your daily inputs, period. Which leaves us with this heavy, but honestly incredibly empowering realization from the source material. Whatever's going on is your fault. Accept that. Own it, and then deal with it. I know, it sounds like tough love, and it definitely is, but there is massive freedom in this statement. Because if everything is your fault, that means it's entirely within your control to fix it. You are the one holding the reins. So, we're going to conclude this explainer with a question for you. You can't change the product if you don't change the pattern. So, will you change your pattern today? Will you embrace the discomfort, stop worshiping comfort, and actually become the disciplined version of yourself? The choice is entirely yours. Now, if you found this breakdown valuable and want to keep fueling that drive, be sure to subscribe to Elmi Motivations for more powerful content just like this. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I'll see you in the next one.